Hi, I'm Robert Becker. I'm a recently retired high school chemistry teacher, and a long time ago I came up with an idea for a construction toy based on hyperbolic paraboloids. And I'm doing a presentation at G4G15, and this is what that presentation looks like. So there's kind of the cover image, which shows a little quick history of it that I'm going to go through. During the presentation, I had to cut down the whole talk to just 6 minutes. As you'll see, I've got a lot more than 6 minutes worth of stuff to show. So let's get started. It all started back in 1982. I was in college, biology major, had to take a distribution requirement. A friend strongly recommended I take this course called 3D Design from this gentleman, Erwin Hauer. Some of you may be familiar with him. The course was about just some fundamental 3D designs. It was fascinating. I loved it. But one day, he kind of showed us a slideshow of what he works on, and that's these wonderful sculptures and building elements, and they're all made out of these repeating patterns of hyperbolic surfaces, saddle structures. Here's a good example. He would not make a mold for that entire structure, though. He would just make a mold for that piece that gets reiterated, and then use that to make whatever, several hundred copies of it, and then stick them together to make this, which I thought was amazing considering this is back in the 1980s. Beautiful, and that's what he was well known for. And here's some more of his amazing artwork. So, fast forward now to 1987, where I meet the love of my life and my partner in crime, Kathy, who's on board with this whole thing. She's also very much into math and puzzles and games. And her daughter, Jenna, 4-year-old, inquisitive, wonderful kid. So I got a ready-made family. And in 1990 then, I got a job teaching at Kirkwood High School. That same year, the NSTA conference was in St. Louis. So that's where I'm from. And I walk in the exhibit halls, I find out about this thing called Polydron, which is this construction toy based on tiles that snap together to give you cubes and pyramids. And I'm playing with Jenna, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And for some reason, I get to thinking, what if those tiles were not flat? What if they were curved like that, hyperbolic? Could you piece them together to make something like Erwin Hauer's sculptures? If so, that would make for a pretty cool construction toy. By the way, that shape did not come out of nowhere, that particular hyperbolic paraboloid. I said, I'm a chemistry teacher, and this right here is the soap film structure you get when you dip a tetrahedral frame into soapy water. That frame, by the way, is made out of coffee stirrers and twist ties, so very inexpensive to make. And look at that. That is what soap films do. They cover a frame with the minimal surface area. And the cool thing about this, if you're a chemistry teacher, is that that arrangement right there is exactly the arrangement of the bonds around carbon in molecules like methane and even larger molecules, pretty much a 109.5 degree angle. Awesome. But I would then go ahead and show my students, if you pop two opposite films there, it gives you this wonderful soap film, which is not at all flat like the other ones were. It's very curved. In fact, that's negative curvature. And that saddle structure, that hyperbolic surface, approximates a hyperbolic paraboloid. So that's cool. And I'm thinking, I wonder what would happen if that were put together. So what I did was I made some little, about the size of Pringles chips with corners, out of this material. This is the kind of stuff you'd make a cast for your arm if you broke it out of, and it air hardens. So I made a bunch of these and just taped them together with duct tape. But I was already impressed with some of the things you could do with it. Okay, so this is the original prototype back in 1990. I made a VHS recording of it and sent it, you can see the box in the background there, and sent that tape off to Polydron, thinking they'd be interested. But apparently they weren't, because they never got back to me. I still thought it had potential, but I kind of put it on the back burner. I was busy teaching and raising a family. So now, fast forward to 2012. I'm at my very first Gathering for Gardener 10, G4G10, and here I am on the slate of presenters, and I'm presenting on, that's right, fun with soap films and platonic solids. And I showed that very same tetrahedral frame and a whole bunch of others in my 6 minutes, and that was great. And it occurred to me then that if I ever did bring this construction toy to market, if I actually made it a reality, that this would be a pretty amazing place to bring it, because of all the different fascination with structures and puzzles and games and things to wear. I didn't know until later on when I had the prototype in hand how incredibly fitting it was for G4G. And yeah, so that's why I'm eager to be back here. And by the way, that soap film, I'm putting together a whole separate video on soap films, just so this isn't too long, but I'll kind of whet your appetite for it with this right here, whet your appetite, huh? And that is, that's right, that's a dodecahedral bubble with almost flat surfaces, suspended inside a dodecahedral frame, again, made out of coffee stirrers and twist ties. And watch what happens as I draw some of the air out and make that inside bubble get smaller. Isn't that fun? And each one of those little vertices there is in itself a tetrahedron, because that's what soap films like to do, meet at those particular angles. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward to 2020, my last year of teaching. 3D printing now is pretty well established, so I'm excited about that. And I'm about to retire. In my last year, this is a class picture from my last year of teaching. Now think about why the class picture looks like that. It's 2020. And this particular student that year, David Gill, I knew he was into 3D printing, so if I'm going to pick someone's brain about what to do with 3D printing, he'd be the one. And so before COVID hit, this is like November of 2019, I pull him aside after class one day. I pull up this image on my computer. I say, David, that's a hyperbolic paraboloid. Do you think you could help me figure out how to 3D print that for a project I'm working on? He kind of shrugged his shoulders. I think he took out his phone and took a picture of it just so he'd have hyperbolic paraboloid. He came back the next day with this. Okay, I was blown away. I hadn't thought about putting holes in it. It just was gorgeous. And I said, my gosh, how long did that take you? He said, about 2 minutes. I said, what? He said, one word, Thingiverse. I was unfamiliar with it, and most people are, except unless you're really into 3D printing, but it's a whole website, a library, as it were, where people have put in their designs for 3D printing, and you can just go down and download them all. I ended up taking that design and tweaking it quite a bit to make it more my own, change the angle, change the number of holes, and all that, but still the idea of having holes in it, I have to attribute to David and indirectly to Thingiverse. Benefits of having the holes, obviously it cuts down on the plastic used, and that saves on manufacturing costs and on shipping costs. Obviously, I think it looks just more intriguing, okay? Anyway, and it shows how even though the shape is curved, it is composed of nothing but straight lines, which is a paradox in itself. It also allows for some amazing shadows and moire patterns. So the thing on the left there is just a black structure that I have rotating, and you see some amazing moire patterns in that. And likewise for the one on the right, which is a shadow of one of the shapes, and it's just got all kinds of possibilities. Imagine those without the holes, and they would just not have those amazing images. And of course, above and beyond all else, it led to Lily Barton's contribution. And I'm going to say right here that I'm so glad I decided to pull the trigger, whatever, on this project my last year of teaching, rather than wait till after retirement, so I could get students' input. And David was one of them, and Lily was another. Okay, so that's a class picture like most of my class pictures from all my years teaching. You see them all wearing their tie-dye. I had this one of Lily because she was in my class the previous year as a sophomore, but Lily was also in my homeroom. So her junior year, and this, by the way, is Lily right there. Her junior year, she's in the homeroom, and she sees me at my desk, and I'm trying to think about, do I want to put little kind connectors on the edges so that it'd be like poly-drawn pieces and maybe even snap together with them. But oh, I really don't like the way that looks. It looks so much nicer without those. And Lily just smiled and gave me 3 words. Think Lego hands. I have no idea where she came up with that idea, but it was brilliant. And what does she mean by Lego hands? That's right. The little clasping mechanism that Lego figurines have. And look at that. So I could then 3D print some connectors, and that I made out of a softer material that would clamp onto the sides and then allow you to clamp 2 together. And of course the benefit of that is you could attach them a whole bunch of different places and a whole bunch of different angles, and then they would also rotate and pivot and all kinds of flexy things that just amazing. So again, if it weren't for the contribution of those 2 students, David and Lily, I know that HyperTiles would not be in existence right now. So thanks to them. So now we're 2021. I run a Kickstarter. No idea what I'm doing. I apply for a trademark. I apply for a patent. And check out these patent images there. I think that's hilarious that the front and right are identical, as are the rear and left, as are the top and bottom. That's the kind of structure it is. And of course, I design the packaging. Love the way they come in their container like little Pringles chips, only square, with the connectors on each end there. And I design a website. All of these things are totally outside my comfort zone. But you know what? What the heck? It's a break-even hobby for retirement. And that website, by the way, I have a gallery of structures that just some of the things I came up with, and then links to videos on how to make them and the like. So that's been kind of a fun ongoing project. Advanced into 2022, I'm living the good life. There I am picking up a shipment of HyperTiles from the warehouse where I have them delivered. I dropped them off in my garage. I'm doing this whole thing out of my garage as a fun hobby. Here's a bunch of orders that came in that I'm delivering to be mailed. By the way, the cardboard for those is repurposed from the cardboard that the packages came in. So nothing's getting wasted here, and no packing material around there. They literally are just in cardboard conforming to the package. So we're talking about minimal waste on that. I'm also enjoying going to trade fairs and craft fairs and the like. And you like the little HyperTile gazebo there or whatever that I designed. That was my brother Jack's idea. And just having kids stop by and visit the booth. Also getting me back into the classrooms and working with kids. Just totally loving that. I taught high school. But most of the programs I've done, local schools in St. Louis, have been around elementary, upper elementary, okay? And just living the good life. Yeah, there's my hood ornament on my Honda Fit. Okay, then in 2023, I get approached by a Fun in Motion Toys, a wonderful toy company out of Florida. And they do things like juggling balls and a thing called Shishibo, that stands for Shape-Shifting Box. A brand new product they got called Tech Tea. I just love these things, and these are all very much appropriate for G4G, Gathering for Gardener, and they think that because of its flexiness, that HyperTiles would also be a good fit for this. Fun in Motion Toys. And you know what? We signed an agreement, and that's awesome. So they're going to be taking this and running with it like I never could have. So finally, here we are, 2024, Gathering for Gardener 15. And here I've got the gift exchange contains a bag of coffee stirrers and twist ties for making the geometric structures for dipping in soapy water. And it contains 2 sample HyperTiles and connectors. So if you're participating in the gift exchange, that's what you're getting from me. Along with a write-up of how to put the structures together, although I think you can figure that out for yourself. We also have a demonstration table and a sales table where you can come and play with the HyperTile structures and with the soap films as well if you want. By the way, from the get-go, 100% of our proceeds have gone to charities. You can go to the website and see which ones they are. But here at G4G15, we're going to have all the proceeds, which is about 50% of the sales price, go to the G4G Foundation. So how cool is that? We're also here on Friday night games and puzzle session. You can try your hand at just playing with the HyperTiles, but you can also try Hyper Tic-Tac-Toe. So that's one of the shapes you saw earlier with my first prototype. It's called, I call it an exploded tetrahedron. And it also makes for a really cool, that's a diagonal win right there, a really cool kind of a tic-tac-toe surface, inside and outside. And that would be like a horizontal win right there. Okay, so if you're interested, come play that game. I'm sure there's other games you can figure out for it. And also, we've got a table at the Make and Build afternoon. So figure out how to build an exploded tetrahedron like that, and we'll help you when we have models and stuff to work from. And you'll earn a free starter set to take home with you. Our main purpose here is just to get this out in people's hands. So I'm going to end with this fun montage that shows the HyperTiles and different uses, applications, and all. And I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much.